You're watching Camnet TV News, not just another channel. Here are the headlines. Murder suspect of Dr. TASILA TEMBO, NIGEL MWAMBA, pleads not guilty. Schools open but with low PUPIL turnout. No incentives for COVID-19 frontline workers, reveals Secretary to the Cabinet. In international news, South African President CYRIL RAMAPHOSA receives first consignment of COVID-19 vaccine. And in sports news, IBRAHIMOVIC and LUKAKU clash Milan derby under investigation. For the details, join me shortly after this break.
2021 is finally here. Zambia is at the crossroads heading towards general elections this August. In the world where fake news, biased reporting on national issues has become the order of the day. In a world where social media in most cases spills lies and exaggerated information, insightful coverage, Zambia needs one media. Living in a country where people are slowly promoting tribalism, hatred, bitterness and revenge, political temperature is heating up and people's hearts are perplexed. Zambia needs one media. Zambia being a Christian nation living under the lordship of Jesus Christ, the nation cannot afford a compromised gospel. Zambia needs a prophetic media house. For hope, peace and unity, Zambia needs Camnet television. For non-biased, factual reporting, balanced opinion, accurate news coverage, Zambia needs Camnet television. For national projects and development of our beloved country Zambia, watch Camnet TV on channel 274 DSTV, channel 98 on Go TV and channel 106 on Topstar. Remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel.
With the details, my name is Liseli Kanyanga. Dr. TASILA's alleged killer, NIGEL MWAMBA, an army officer, has applied through his lawyer to undergo a mental checkup at Chinama Hospital. The 33-year-old lieutenant made his application after pleading not guilty before High Court Judge Wilfred Muma this morning for a charge of murder. After taking his plea, Lieutenant MWAMBA, through his defense lawyer, Maribesa Muyayenei, asked Judge Muma for an order to be taken to Chinama Hospital for assessment for a condition or conditions known as disruptive impulse control and conduct disorder. This disorder can cause people to behave angrily and aggressively towards people or property. The defense counsel submitted before court that the application was made in pursuant to Section 160 of the Criminal Procedure Code, Chapter 88 of the Laws of Zambia, and Deputy Chief State Advocate Cassandra Soko did not object to the application and Judge Muma granted it. Allegations are that Lieutenant MWAMBA killed Dr. TEMBO on an unknown date, but between October 24th, 2020 and October 26, 2020 in Lusaka. The accused allegedly beheaded Dr. TASILA after she decided to end their relationship. The late Dr. TEMBO's head was discovered near Mikango Barracks area and the body was found in a decomposed state covered with leaves in a ranking area training center in the Mikango Barracks area. Lieutenant MWAMBA was nabbed after he was spotted at Leopards Memorial Park around 16 hours on December 3rd, 2020, where he went to visit Dr. TEMBO's grave. This was after he had allegedly gone into hiding after the alleged murder for over a month. The matter has since been adjourned to 15th February 2021. Moving on in the news, police in Lusaka have arrested one suspect and are looking for other suspects believed to be on the run in connection with the murder of Dennis Mutale and assault of one of the other person. This is in line with the incident which occurred on the 28th of January 2021 at around 15 hours in Kanyama compound in Lusaka. Zambia police spokesperson Esther Katongo says the incident happened when two groups of unruly persons clashed along First Road off Mumbo Road during a funeral procession. Initially, the report was recorded as unlawful wounding, and the 2 victims were taken to Kanyama Level 1 Hospital for treatment, but later changed after one person involved died.
We have granted GADBRO a permit to import products that may contain GMOs. The permit, which is valid for 5 years, has been granted after risk assessment was conducted on the products that the company intends to bring in the country. GADBRO will import Hind's Southern Coatings and Hind's Spices. We have also renewed the Zambian brand's permit to place on the market products that may contain GMOs. This permit is valid for 6 months to ensure compliance. Meanwhile, we are calling on all companies whose import and placing on the market permits are about to expire to renew them if they are to continue importing and selling products that may contain GMOs.
We sincerely apologize for playing the wrong audio there. Schools have finally opened after postponement due to the COVID-19. A check at some schools, both in densely and sparsely populated areas, revealed that schools are trying their best in observing the health measures. The challenge is, however, on the part of the learners, especially those in primary level, who immediately take off their masks as they walk home. Lady Diana Private School in Kanyama, Chief Executive Officer Simon Mwale says the school is involving parents so that children do not forget to adhere to the health guidelines even as they walk the streets. More in this report.
Schools have finally opened amidst concerns by some parents that schools might be breeding grounds for spreading the COVID-19. A check at some schools revealed that some institutions have made progress and are equal to the task in the fight against the virus while classes resume. The schools, however, have recorded a poor turnout. We spoke to the Parents and Teachers Association chairman for Kablonga Boys Secondary School, Likando Lisulo, who says parents need to help the teachers and generally government in the fight against this scourge. He is concerned that most young children take off their masks once they knock off, a situation he says is not good for this fight.
School preparedness in terms of the COVID-19 and the reopening of schools, we were in liaison with the school administration, and so far all the arrangements as pronounced by the government have been put in place. The only challenge that we have, or probably maybe an appeal that one has to push, is to ask parents, considering that children are coming from homes, so we need to prepare them from homes, make sure that we have adequate masks for them, so that as they take off from home, they are masked up. And we also prepare hand sanitizers for them, because the school might be safe, but then in between here, that's where the challenge is. But then if we can educate them from the onset, from our homes themselves, it means that we are able to actually alleviate quite a number of these occurrences that can actually come through.
And Lady Diana Private School in Kanyama Compound, Chief Executive Officer Simon Mwale explains that the school has put additional measures to protect the pupils.
That each and every child in class right now have got masks, and we don't allow children to share anything. We don't allow children even to share a pen. We don't allow children to hug. We don't allow children to shake hands. And we are not even allowing parents to go to classes. When you enter the gate, you're supposed to come to the office straight, then you go back. So even we don't allow any parents bring food for the children during lunchtime, so that we minimize the number of people who should be in school. And members of staff, we have tried by all means to ensure that we continue the sensitization that we were doing already. On top of that, we have made sure that at the gate, as you have seen, the temperatures being checked, the hands are being sanitized, and also just the hygiene of the school itself. We made sure that at least all those areas are touched.
He has since assured the parents not to be afraid of sending their children to school.
Ourselves and parents to work together. You are right, here we can observe all the rules, but what about at home? And these kids are coming from houses, so we want to ensure that what they are doing here is exactly what they're also doing at home. Though, you know, it's not easy at home because of they live in different kind of an environment, so to say, but at the end of the day, we believe that each and every person now knows the dangers of COVID-19. So it's our earnest appeal to parents and out there and everybody, so that we should work together as a government. For us to fight this disease, we need collaborative efforts. We need all of us to put our hands together, so that at the end of the day, nobody is left behind. And just appeal to the parents out there. You know, the schools, I believe, countrywide, we have tried our level best to ensure that we live by the rules. And when the kids come to schools, as administrators, we are putting our 100% levels so that our schools are not closed. You know, we are not happy to see kids being home.
Sharon Kalimbola, Camnet News.
Meanwhile, Kabulonga Boys Secondary School Parents and Teachers Association Chairman Likando Lisulo has since called on parents to ensure that pupils are made to understand the importance of wearing a mask and generally observing the health guidelines. More in this report.
I'd like to call upon all the parents and the teachers to adhere to the COVID-19 measures that have been stipulated by the Ministry of Health. It is for this reason that we also call upon private schools where they have challenges in terms of resources and labor issues, challenges in terms of labor issues, to engage the Ministry of Labor to sort out these issues, the challenges they are facing in the private sector. And we wish to commend the government as a labor movement for the measures they've put in place.
National Union of Public and Private Educators of Zambia has called on private schools having challenges with resources and labor issues to engage the Ministry of Labor for possible assistance. NUPE's Deputy National Secretary Agre Chisanga has told Camnet TV News in an interview that COVID-19 will continue to impact the education sector, hence the need for continued adherence to set guidelines. Mr. Chisanga has since appealed to parents and teachers to intensify the COVID-19 preventions to avoid unnecessary closure of schools. He says both parents and teachers have a key role to play at ensuring that pupils do not contract COVID-19 while in schools.
I'd like to call upon all the parents and the teachers to adhere to the COVID-19 measures that have been stipulated by the Ministry of Health. It is for this reason that we also call upon private schools where they have challenges in terms of resources and labor issues, challenges in terms of labor issues, to engage the Ministry of Labor to sort out these issues, the challenges they are facing in the private sector. And we wish to commend the government as a labor movement for the measures they've put in place.
Kanyama Constituency Ward 10 Councillor Brighton Bilumba says the constituency development funds are being put to good use by prioritizing people-centered projects. Last year, the Ministry of Finance released 249 million kwacha Constituency Development Fund (CDF) disbursed 156 constituencies, with each receiving 1.6 million kwacha. Councillor Bilumba has explained that part of the fund will go towards rehabilitation of the football ground and the water reticulation project. Meanwhile, Mr. Bilumba tells Camnet TV News that part of the constituency development funds are being used to upgrade to a Shuka primary school to a secondary school level in order to address the challenges of inadequate schools for higher grades.
Fund is not a hidden issue. Those monies are disbursed by central government and they are rightfully administered by a committee called CDF committee. Anyone seeking information about the CDF funds, the committee is can ably tell our communities. But just to mention of what the CDF of Kanyama has done in our locations, we may also know that Kanyama has got 3 wards, and so what we've done is to distribute the monies equally across the 3 wards of Kanyama. And specifically in Kanyama Ward 10, we are seeing CDF building infrastructures of the upgraded Twashuka school to a secondary level. And for our community members, the building you are seeing that is coming up in Kashuga ground is being financed by CDF funds. We've also done water reticulation in Garden House area, and one of the clinic has now attained the status of having full water which is running, and that is CDF that is working. And this also applies even in other wards of Kanyama, that there are so many projects that are coming up there. For example, in Harimwanga Nkumbula ward, not the spokesperson there, but I think I've seen a project that is coming up at Sekerera Market, the shelter for the market, as well as Munkolo, where we have seen the community ground being fenced through those finances.
A 6-year-old boy of Mukushi district has died after drowning in a dam in which he and another boy were swimming. Jonathan Chelufia met his fate Sunday afternoon after he failed to maintain the shallow area and slipped to a 3 meters deep area. Mukushi Municipal Council Public Relations Officer Clarence Kauma has confirmed the development to Camnet TV News and says the body of the deceased has been retrieved by the Town Council Fire Brigade. Mr. Kauma says it is unfortunate that this accident is the second of a similar nature the district is experiencing in the space of 2 weeks. Meanwhile, some kids have been spotted in Lusaka's Kalikiliki compound swimming in dirty water mixed with garbage. Details in this report.
Losing a child in unforeseen circumstance is a very devastating experience for a parent whose wish is to see his or her child grow to become a positive contributor to society. However, Solomon in Hebrews 13 verses 24 advises that whoever spares a robe hates their children, but the one who loves their children is careful to discipline them. This is what some parents of Lusaka's Misisi compound are lacking, as every day, children are seen swimming in this dirty water in shallow wells along the Estalungu Road in Misisi compound. What is even more disturbing is that garbage is also dumped in the same waters that the children are seen swimming from, while some residents are also seen washing their clothes in the same stagnant waters. Diseases such as dysentery, typhoid and cholera are high in areas such as these, hence the need for the relevant authority to quickly come to the rescue of these children who are initially supposed to be in school. And efforts to get a comment from Nkoloma Ward 1 Councillor TASILA Lungu could not materialize by broadcast time as a phone went unanswered. And in a similar circumstance, a 6-year-old boy of Mukushi district has died after drowning in a dam. Mukushi Public Relations Officer Clarence Kauma has confirmed this development.
So yesterday we had an incident. This was in the district where a boy of age 6 apparently drowned in a dam. The said boy is only identified as Jonathan Chilufia and is of age 6. We as a local authority through the fire brigade and rescue team managed to rush to the incident scene, which is about 6 kilometers away from the CBD. And apparently it took the brigade about 40 minutes to retrieve the same body. We as a local authority would love to urge parents, guardians to see to it that they look after their children and also ensure that they all safeguard their lives if we are to avoid the reoccurrence of such an incident. Apparently, this is the second incident that is happening in the district in a space of 2 weeks. It is against this background that we are also directing all owners of wells, those are shallow wells as well as dams, to see to it that they cover them and protect them, as this will help us avoid the reoccurrence of this.
Prudence Chota for Camnet TV News.
The Zambia Land Alliance has accused the councils countrywide of failing to properly administer land, hence the country witnessing unprecedented land encroachments. Alliance Executive Director Patrick Musole notes that political interference has also been contributed to the lack of action by the council in terms of safeguarding land. Its comments come in the wake of complaints received from Solwezi District, Northwestern Province residents that some people have encroached Solwezi Airport land by putting up various structures such as religious buildings and houses. In this vein, residents of Kwawana and are concerned that many people would lose their lives in case of an accident, such as a plane failing to land properly. More in this report.
Land ownership in Zambia is becoming increasingly a contentious issue. This is because land is more than just an economic asset or factor of production. Land ownership invokes a sense of security, identity, and a sense of pride. Based on existing literature, the main types of land conflicts in Zambia are conflicts between or among residents over land boundaries, conflicts relating to two or more claims made on one piece of land, also encroachment of personal or private land, mostly by political party cadres. Some people are ready to get land without following procedure, and this is the case in Solwezi district, where land for the Solwezi airport has been encroached by some people who have put up churches and houses on the airport land. The residents of Kiawama compound are concerned that in an event a plane fails to land, it may result in an accident.
Airport. Airport. Airport ya jinga itanshi macheche yake katataka. So kintu kyotwe na kukewa government itajishe pobrongo babya ikara airport ne macheche. Mambo ndeke pape ngea ya rubankana. Bantu kampe bajimbu mucheche pasande yafana kuikarake disastrous. So tuna kukewa government itajishe pobrongo pa iye mpunja ya airport ne pa ikira macheche. Mambo ke problem ikatampe, there is no way airport ya ikarabibye machechi nawe ya ikarabibye ngitara papita waya pose po ya pirirani paikira machechi.
That's in 1970. So history yonse yakuno kusaidi ne yuka airport ya jinga itanshi aye mazubo onse aya kukatatakane machechezi after ba airport kwashire kimasala grave yo yaishire kwe aye onse machechi ya umwene kumwena nangu ba polisi bakaba yake katataka emwane.
Zambia Land Alliance Executive Director Patrick Musole is concerned that local authorities are not doing enough to prevent land irregularities in the country. He regrets that in the case of Solwezi district, he feels the council has not done enough to curtail land encroachment which has been going on for a while.
Laws that guide where people can build. People cannot build on private property. The land for national airports, that's private property. That, of course, it's public land. It's for the government, but people have no right to go and build there. They should have been stopped before they started building. That encroachment did not happen in one day. It's been going on for years, for some time. And that's when people have realized, start asking questions, where was the council this whole time? So they should have been prevented from starting in the first place. Secondly, people that are guilty of breaking the law, whether they are built in land for national airports, whether it is in private land for individuals, whether it is under electric wires, whether it is on protected area, they must be prosecuted.
The Solwezi Municipal Council was not available for a comment by broadcast time. However, land issues are expected to be minimized once the policy is enforced, as recently Lands Minister Jean Kapata told Camnet News that the policy will soon come into effect.
Well, the land policy is done. As far as I'm concerned, we are done. The validation has been done. So we are waiting. It has gone into different ministries so that they can comment. After that, it will go to cabinet. After cabinet, then it will be turned into law. We are done with the draft, the national draft land policy.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Secretary to the Treasury, Fredson Yamba, says there are currently no incentives for health frontline workers tasked to fight the COVID-19 pandemic in the country. Mr. Yamba says the Treasury is not mandated to decide on any incentives for any frontline worker, as the decision can only be approved by Cabinet. Mr. Yamba said this when he appeared before the Public Accounts Committee Monday morning for the consideration of the interim report on the audit of COVID-19 resources for the period ending 31st July 2020. And Mr. Yamba says about 61 billion kwacha was raised in relation to the fight against COVID-19 in the country through cooperating partners, while 12 million kwacha was raised through local contributions. Details in this report.
Frontline workers have continued to put their lives at risk in helping contain COVID-19 in the country. However, no incentives have been provided for them to appreciate the effort being put in the fight against the pandemic. Medical for Quality Healthcare in Zambia had complained that its members have continued to work under harsh conditions, while no allowances have been given to them to appreciate their efforts.
Site development come at a time when the Ministry of Health, they have completely failed to pay the incentives to all the health workers, especially the frontliners who are fighting COVID-19.
And Secretary to the Treasury, Freedom Yamba, has confirmed before the Public Accounts Committee that no incentives have been put in place for health frontline workers despite all the donations made in the fight against the pandemic. He says the decision can only be made by government through cabinet approval.
On that, are you stating that there is no incentive that has been put together for the frontliners, the frontline health officers? Is that your submission?
Thank you, Chair. Currently, there is no cabinet decision regarding that issue. It's something that I know has been looked at and it's been actively being followed, but we do not have a final position. So until we get a final position, there's little that the Treasury can do with regard to giving that kind of incentive. Chair, I submit.
The Secretary has also told the committee that over 61 billion kwacha has been raised in the fight against the pandemic, while over 43 billion kwacha was released to the Ministry of Health.
Zambia has received pledges and commitments from both local and international, that is bilateral and multilateral cooperating partners, in amounts totaling 6,399,286,000 226 kwacha.
The debate surrounding where the COVID-19 funds have been channeled to has continued to surface, and proper accountability remains key to solving this mystery.
Here, the pledges from cooperating partners are being managed by project implementation units in case of Africa Development Bank and the World Bank, while support from bilateral partners is being channeled through institutions such as World Health Organization, the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, and non-governmental organizations. Furthermore, most of the support was not being provided as direct finances to government, but in kind and in form of support through provisions of training and capacity building of health frontline staff, food bags, machinery, equipment, and other forms of materials that are being used in the fight against COVID-19 pandemic.
Prudence Chota for Camnet TV News.
We now take our first set of commercials. Do stay with us as we have more interesting stories lined up for you.
And why do you look so pale and busy scratching yourself?
Well, Amwandi, you know my skin is very sensitive. I've tried all the skin products and nothing seems to work.
Have you tried Oracle Pure Glycerin?
Oracle Pure Glycerin? What's that?
Just give me a minute.
Oracle Pure Glycerin gives your skin a youthful and healthy glow.
Ish, you're glowing. Don't tell me.
Yes!
I already know the secrets.
Oracle Pure Glycerin!
Try Oracle Pure Glycerin for that perfect skin.
To create a positive difference in people's lives, one must first understand the way people live. At Savenda, We're here for our community, our partners, and our future, as a nation and as a continent.
Back in 1997, we decided we were going to create this family journey into a bigger opportunity, and created a business called Savenda, which meant Save Nations to Develop Africa.
It's always important to give back to the people. The government cannot do everything, but as business entities, we'll be able to reach a lot of people.
From our humble beginnings in the telecoms and mining sectors to our work in energy and development projects, we know how important it is to be true to our roots.
Our services have to be diversified so that we don't depend on one income stream. Back in the village, I was growing up hunting and doing everything that a village boy would like to do. When you're hunting, you don't depend on one trap, for example. You have to have many traps. So those survival skills brought into the business created opportunities that we learned from a young age that you can't survive with just one product. Savenda Group involves Savenda Management, which is a consulting, Savenda Express, which is a corporate branding company, Savenda Electric, which is a manufacturer of energy-saving bulbs, Savenda General Insurance, which is a general insurance company, Savenda Fresh Produce, Cyber Africa, which is a center for just dealing with cyber security.
Now, Savenda is combining local knowledge with international expertise. It's time to be a part of Zambia's rising success and Africa's exciting future.
We are a gateway into Africa, and now we are praying with global companies who are coming to Zambia for opportunities and to look for companies that are homegrown, and we are proud to be one of those.
Have you heard about Msika? Do you know that you can advertise for as low as 150 kwacha for 30 seconds? Well, Msika is here. Advertise on Msika between 17 hours and 18 hours. Just tell us about the services that you offer and we'll gladly put you on the market. For more details, you can contact
+260 953 995099. +260 962 444 726 or +260 971 177 467.
Msika, allowing your business to grow.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with the news. A non-governmental organization in Eastern Province has urged communities in Petauke district to remain steadfast in their HIV prevention efforts and ensure that people can continue to access the services they need in order for them to stay HIV-free. Standing up for the youths and women in Zambia District Director Gift Chingandu says while COVID-19 is impacting almost every country, people should not forget about the HIV pandemic. Mr. Chingandu was speaking during the sensitization meeting on both HIV and COVID-19 aimed at providing information and dispelling myths surrounding COVID-19 to workers at China Geocontractors campsite in Petauke. Meanwhile, Standing Up for the Youths and Women Programs Coordinator Purity Zimba says the experiences learned from the HIV pandemic can be applied to fight against COVID-19. She has since urged everyone, including people living with HIV, to take the recommended precautions to reduce exposure to COVID-19.
China Geo campsite, where we have come to do HIV testing and counseling, as well as to discuss about coronavirus. As you may be aware, wherever there is a construction going on, there is a package for HIV. So as an organization, I've been given this opportunity to be conducting HIV sensitization, testing, and other STIs that affects people in the construction and the communities to which they are working.
As a nation, we've forgotten about the HIV virus and other STIs. We've concentrated on other things, especially corona. So as a group, we thought we start our sensitization so that we do not neglect this virus. HIV is still ongoing, even though we are concentrated on other things. So we're here to sensitize the workers for China Geo.
That wayambirira kumwa ma ARVs yamathandizira chifukwa chake boma la Zambia inabolesako ndondomeko imene kamba kuti test and treat. Wapezekana kadoka HIV ankha chitetezo chako nchokwera bwino chicha bwanji tiyamba mankhwala chamene sitifuna nchokutilombawo chitokupishani pa kampani ya ma Chinese kuti imwe muoneka simungakwanise kusebenza ndani pumuleko poyamba ndiye pamene sitifuna
atifundisha kwa bwino maningi kuti tikhale anthu wosunga ndalama zathu nosenzesa mwamtendere ndiponso tisakondekonde kuchita zachiwerewere kuti tipewe bwino matenda.
The Civil Society Scaling Up Nutrition Alliance has called on Agriculture Minister Michael Katambo to update the nation on the investigations launched last year in the theft of farming inputs in various parts of the country during the 2020-2021 farming season. CSO Sun Country National Coordinator Matthews Muhuru says citizens deserve to know what has been done to recover the stolen fertilizer on the Copper Belt, Muchinga, Southern and Eastern, among other provinces. This is in connection with reports of theft of 3,000 bags of fertilizer in Luansha in November 2020, 950 bags of fertilizer in Mambwe district in Eastern Province, and 180 bags in Katete districts. Other districts were reported in Chikankata. Incidents were reported in Chikankata district in Southern Province, where farmers were over-enrolled and most of them did not receive their inputs. Muhuru notes with sadness that government officials, among them district commissioners and agriculture officers, are linked to the theft of fertilizer. He says the silence exhibited by the Minister of Agriculture on the theft of these farming inputs is not helping in restoring confidence in the management of programs such as the Farmer Input Support Program, FISIP.
We're calling on government to give an update on the actions that have been taken so far with regards to the stolen farming inputs under the Farmer Input Support Program. The country is currently facing some worsening situation as far as food security is concerned, with a population of about 6.9 million people, representing about 9% of the total population, are facing different categories of hunger as reviewed by the IPC report. And just in 2021, government plans to spend over 5 billion kwacha on the farmer input support program. But as long as prudence as well as just accountability remain very poor, then the country is headed for a worse off food security situation. So we are making a call on the Minister of Agriculture to give an update on what kind of actions they have taken with regards to the stolen farming inputs, as well as also to indicate what kind of measures they've put in place to ensure that the farming inputs are not stolen in the future, and especially with regards to 5 billion kwacha that government plans to spend in 2021.
The Golden Party of Zambia President Jackson Silavwe has charged that political interference of state institutions has contributed to the high corruption levels in the country. Mr. Silavwe notes that the recently launched Corruption Perception Index, which shows that Zambia has increased her corruption, is a source of concern. He notes that cadres from the ruling party, both inside and outside state institutions, call the shots on what goes or not, who gets promoted or not. The opposition leader says corruption is an epidemic, and as a country, there is need to have strong independent institutions with enough bite force to finish off this cancer. He adds that GPZ is of the view that the Office of the Auditor General of Zambia should be given direct prosecutional powers to prosecute public officers cited in their report. Mr. Silavwe says corruption erodes the trust of the people have in their government and public officers.
Politicization or cadreization of state institutions. Cadres both in and outside state institutions get to call the shots, which is worrying in our country. We have heard reports how some cadres have been selling positions in some of the state institutions or parastatals, if you can qualify them. They would literally tell a person, if you want to be promoted, if you want to get this position, you have to give us this much. So if Zambia is going to see, if Zambia is serious about fighting corruption, there has to be strong political will from the president, from the government, that they mean business. Number two, there has to be a depoliticization of the government, of the state institutions and parastatals. Let them run independent and free from political interference. For example, as Golden Party of Zambia, we have been of the view that the AG, the Office of the Auditor General of Zambia, must be given prosecutorial powers for them to prosecute directly individuals that are found wanting in the audit reports. Because year in, year out, we are told of maladies, maladministration, what is happening in government, and yet people go scot-free. So strengthening of institution is key to ensuring that the fight against corruption is robust and that is going to benefit all Zambians. Corruption hurts the people of Zambia. It takes away resources that are supposed to go to projects that will benefit a lot of people. And so we are saying to the PF, can we stop this corruption? They have the instruments of power at their disposal to make sure that they stop corruption and let all the Zambian people enjoy the nation cake.
Patriotic Front National Youth Chairman Kelvin Sampa has warned party members, especially the youths, to desist from taking to social media whenever they feel aggrieved with other party officials. Mr. Sampa says internal matters should be resolved within the party and not involve external forces. He says those that are loyal to the party and understand the constitution know the right channels to use when dealing with grievances. Mr. Sampa has since called on the youths to start respecting the party in leadership, especially the youths.
This to the attention of the nation, that our youths in the PF party must start respecting each other, must start respecting the leadership of the party. If you're going to be used by any other leader to start mudslinging the leadership that has been appointed, elected, then you don't belong to the PF at all. We are in an election year, that very much I'm aware, and we should not take in-house things to social media or the public. There are procedures to be followed if any party member is aggrieved. What is happening of late, I've been ignoring, but I think it's high time I start telling the people out there that whatever you say will never shake me, because all what is happening is just lies that have been peddled out there, lies that have been told to the public out there. But we are embarrassing ourselves as a party to have such type of people that go round insinuating and bring false alarm and false information to the public. If truly you love the PF, there are procedures that are supposed to be followed. Things that belong to the in-house of the party must be resolved in-house of the party, not where we start taking issues outside and monitoring for too long. But I think it's high time we started learning something, and some people will be an example of what is going on. And I'm urging you, do not blame anybody. We all know some of you have been sent, and we know who's even sending you to do all these things.
United Party for National Development Presidential Spokesperson Anthony Walia and Special Assistant for Special Duties Mubita Nawa will spend their night at Woodlands Police Station, where they have been detained since morning. The two are being accused of theft and forgery. Counsel for the duo, Kamwanga Piri of Malambo and Company, confirmed that his clients who stand accused of theft and forgery were apprehended this morning at Force Headquarters. Counsel Piri disclosed that his clients who were due for police questioning today did not undergo any interrogation interrogation. He, however, confirmed that the two will appear at Force Headquarters tomorrow for possible warn and caution recording. We take our second set of commercials. Do stay with us as we have international and sports news. Don't go away.
Take control of your tax planning. Avoid penalties and interest. Returns and payments due by the 10th of the month for declarations of the previous month's transactions are pay as you earn and skills development levy. Returns and payments due by the 14th of the month are turnover tax, withholding tax, mineral royalty tax, tourism levy, gaming and baiting, presumptive tax. Returns and payments for all withholding VAT agents is the 16th of the month. Returns and payments for all VAT registered suppliers is the 18th of the month. Submit the returns and make payments on or before the respective due dates to avoid penalties on the late submission of returns and payments of taxes. Further, note that VAT tax invoices for all business-to-business and business-to-government transactions must bear the TPIN of the buyer without fail. Zambia Revenue Authority. My tax, your tax, our destiny.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
2021 is finally here. Zambia is at the crossroads heading towards general elections this August. In the world where fake news, biased reporting on national issues has become the order of the day, in a world where social media in most cases spills lies and exaggerated information, insightful coverage, Zambia needs one media. Living in a country where people are slowly promoting tribalism, hatred, bitterness and revenge, political temperature is heating up and people's hearts are perplexed. Zambia needs one media. Zambia being a Christian nation living under the lordship of Jesus Christ, the nation cannot afford a compromised gospel. Zambia needs a prophetic media house. For hope, peace and unity, Zambia needs Camnet television for non-biased, factual reporting, balanced opinion, accurate news coverage. Zambia needs Camnet television for national projects and development of our beloved country Zambia. Watch Camnet TV on channel 274 DSTV, channel 98 on GoTV, and channel 106 on Topstar. Remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with the news. In international news, President CYRIL Ramaphosa and Deputy President David Mabuza, who chairs the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Vaccines, have received South Africa's first consignment of COVID-19 vaccine. The President and Deputy President was joined by the Minister of Health, Dr. Zweli Mkhize, and Minister in the Presidency, Skhumbuzo Swaveni, High Commissioner of the Republic of India, His Excellency Jaideep Sarkar, and Dr. Marina Makowani, Chief Executive Officer of BioVac. BioVac is a biopharmaceutical company that was formed in 2003 in a partnership between government and private investors to establish local vaccine manufacturing capacity. BioVac will play an important role in the quality assurance, warehousing, and distribution of COVID-19 vaccines. High Commissioner Sarkar will represent India as the country of origin of the first vaccine to be rolled out in South Africa. The Serum Institute of India has been licensed to produce a vaccine that has been developed by the multinational pharmaceutical and pharmaceutical company AstraZeneca in collaboration with the University of Oxford. The arrival of the first consignment at OR Tambo International Airport marks the start of the vaccine rollout, which President Ramaphosa describes as the largest and most complex logical vaccine undertaken in South Africa's country's history. In other news, Myanmar leader Aung San Suu Kyi and other senior figures from the ruling party have been detained in an early morning raid. The military declares a state of emergency following days of escalating tension between the civilian government and the powerful military, which claims the November election was tainted by fraud. Al Jazeera has more.
The military made its move in the early hours of the morning, detaining Myanmar's democratically elected leader Aung San Suu Kyi and other senior figures from the ruling party. Suu Kyi's NLD government won November's election by a landslide, but accusations of electoral fraud led to tension between the civilian government and the military.
What my sense is that the hardliners have the upper hand in the internal military struggles, but also that they've gone back to their Chinese sponsors and said, look, this is where we're thinking of going with this. And the Chinese government, which is not inclined to support democracy, has said, you have our backing.
The political crisis began last Tuesday when a military spokesman refused to rule out the possibility of a coup. The following day, Myanmar's military chief stoked fears when he said the constitution should be repealed if it was not abided by. As tensions reached their peak on Saturday, the military issued a new statement saying the commander-in-chief's comments had been misinterpreted and pledged to protect the constitution. But just hours later, emboldened by rumours, hundreds of protesters gathered in Yangon at a pro-military rally, where speeches welcomed a coup with the support of the people.
There is no legal basis for the military to take over. While the military may claim there are certain powers in the constitution that allows it to do this, that's very much open to interpretation, and it's fairly clear that in terms of a constitutional emergency, that power largely lies with the president and not with the commander-in-chief.
More than a dozen countries, including the US and the UK, have urged Myanmar to adhere to democratic norms. This military coup will likely lead to more sanctions. The NLD has called on the military to accept the will of the people and has asked its supporters to stay calm. On the same day a new parliament was due to open in Myanmar, the fate of the country's democracy is uncertain. Victoria Gatenby, Al Jazeera.
We now get into sports news. And in sports news, the Italian Football Federation is investigating last week's spate between Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Romelu Lukaku during the Milan derby. The former Manchester United teammates were both given yellow cards after an argument and a head-to-head clash between their part just before halftime, which continued into the tunnel during the interval. Referee Paolo Valeri was called in for questioning by prosecutor Giuseppe Chin to explain the punishment handed out during the Italian Cup quarter-final on Tuesday. The pair could be seen and heard exchanging insults as Lukaku had to be restrained by his teammates as he attempted to confront the Swedish forward. Ibrahimovic, who had given Milan a first-half lead, was sent off after packing up a second yellow card after the break before Christian Eriksen scored a stoppage time winner for Inter to send them through with a 2-1 win. AC Milan forward Ibrahimovic and Inter Milan striker Lukaku were each given a 1-match suspension following the incident. That sports item brings us to the end of the news, but before we go, a look at the headline once again. Murder suspect of Dr. TASILA TEMBO, NIGEL MWAMBA, pleads not guilty. Schools open but with low pupil turnout. No incentives for COVID-19 frontline workers, revealed Secretary to the Cabinet. In international news, South African President CYRIL Ramaphosa receives first consignment of COVID-19 vaccine. And in sports news, IBRAHIMOVIC and LUKAKU clash, Milan derby under investigation. We now look at the Camnet verse of the day coming from the book of 1 Peter 4 verse 16, and it reads, "But if anyone suffers as a Christian, he should not be ashamed, but should glorify God having that name." On behalf of the entire news production crew and myself, Liseli Kanyanga, thank you so much for watching Camnet TV News on Camnet TV, not just another channel.